I admire about the generation before us is they would go and like the bus would pick them up in Little Haiti, and they would go and work in South Carolina all day in the field, so that we can have money for school. When I say that story, people are like, is this 1800? I'm like, no, in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of immigrants, they were full like school buses and they would take them to Haiti, and then my mom would they would work in the farm, like crop, and then that's how they would pay like our tennis shoes and like all our stuff to like survive. So that's like legit, you know?
What were you like as a kid?
So this is my mom, you know. She said I was really, really quiet, which I was really, really shy, and I was really self-conscious. I never felt that I was pretty. So that was like, I never felt like I was good enough, you know what I mean? And I think it's because like when you're that first generation, you don't speak English. And okay, my mom used to send me to school with like church dress, church socks, and the tennis shoes. And then I don't know if you've seen like the little Haiti girls, they have like the ribbons, and she would send us off to school like that. And the kids, like, they had Nike, FUBU, they were like so fashionable, you know? And so I think for me, like growing up, I always felt out of place. Because, you know, I was like, wow, look at these Americans like with these name brand, and my mom would like, the thrift store is cool now, but you know, we would go to the thrift store, you know. And so for me, as a childhood, I felt like I never belonged. I feel like I never quite belong anywhere. I'm not technically American, but I'm not technically Haitian, the Haitian American, that in between. But yeah, I think I was a shy kid. I love crocheting. I love like, you know, someone like clapping. I love to work with my hands.
Why?
I don't know. I remember Miss Lane, Alapata. She was crocheting, and she had these like little crochet baby shoes, and I saw that, and I ran home, and I was like, Mom, you know, can I like stay after school? And back then, I don't think they really kidnapped kids, so I would walk from Santa Clara all the way, literally miles, so after school, so that I can like learn crochet. And I think that spark, you know what I mean? That spark, that like magic, that glitter in my eye, that what else I can do, you know what I mean? And so that I think that was the beginning of my, you know, fashion career.
Let's jump ahead to high school.
High school.
Tell me about high school.
Wow, Santa Clara. I went to Miami Central Senior High School, and it was interesting going in high school. High school was, I don't know. High school, I felt like for me in high school, I never. Again, I always go back to this Haitian because I think American kids are so cool, you know what I mean? And for me, I grew up like, the school was like half Haitian American kids and then half African American, Black African American. And so high school for me was like a discovering phase for me. So I was in the band, I was in the drama team. I played, and even in elementary, I tried the flute, I tried the clarinet, I tried the trumpet. I ended up with the trombone. I was a tomboy, you know? I ended up with trombone. I did track. And so I was really like, I think high school, I really got involved. And I remember my last year, my junior year, was kind of the time I was like, I think I can be a fashion designer. It was Haitian Flag Day. Haitian Flag Day is a big deal in Miami. We take the flag and we like make all these outfits. And like I hand sewed this cool outfit. I took some jeans and I like did pockets, and people were like, oh, you're so cool. And so I think that affirmation from my other peers are like, I think I can actually do this, you know. But I went to my mom and I was like, I think I want to be a fashion designer. She's like, no. I was like, my dreams just like, you know, crumbled to the air. But I totally get it, because in Haiti, no one walking around saying, I want to be a fashion designer. No one, like, people are seamstress, they're doctors, they're lawyers. So when your mom comes here on the boat and she wants you to have a white picket fence life, when you're trying to tell her you want to dream fashion, for her, she could not. That was hard for her to kind of.
So what did she pick?
So she said I have to, like, in Haitian culture, engineer, doctors. Those are two ones that are big, major in our culture. So I went to Miami-Dade College after high school, and I didn't know what to pick, you know? So I went into the counselor, and they had this architecture model, and they had like floor plan. I was like, whatever that is, I want to major in that. And so that's how I dabbed into architecture at Miami-Dade. And it's crazy, some kids were doing drugs. I was sneaking into the fashion club at Miami-Dade College. That's what I was doing, and I would tell my mom, I would have fashion shows. And so it's hard, like when you have immigrant parents, their opinion matter a lot, you know? Like, I love my American friends. Their parents would be like, I do whatever I want. I'm like, that's so cool, you know? And I feel like there's so much responsibility because they like paved the way for us and they barely speak English, you know? And there's so much weight to it. And so we really take heed to what our say.
What was the jump from architecture to fashion?
So in '07, SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, which I love, it's like my dream school, is located in Savannah. At that time, it had a program with fashion, it had another program with architecture. Nowhere in the States that I could find a school that had both at that time, that I could major both. And so I was in Miami, and I was like, okay, so I applied for FIU to be an architecture program, and then I applied to AIU to do fashion, so I figured I can do both. And then I got that call. I got that letter saying you going to SCAD, and I didn't even have my dorms paid. I packed all my stuff in the car, and I was like, I'm out of here. I don't care if I sleep in my car. I'm going to SCAD. Like, that's how hungry I was. And for me, like, my mom is illiterate. She can't read or write. So for us, like, education is like the thing that will get us out of the port.
How'd you tell your mom you were going to Savannah?
Okay, so I finally went to school. I was doing architecture. Since your parents is away from you, right? They can't really, say much. So it took a year, and then I finally had that conversation, and I was like, hey, Mom, I'm changing my major to fashion. And then she was like, oh, okay. And then every time I call her, you can say I have issues. I've been in counseling for a while. Every time I call her, I'm like, Mom, what do I do? She'd be like, I don't know. I'd be like, I'm a fashion designer. And then I'd be like, Mom, what do you tell your other friends? She'd be like, I don't know what you do with your life. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, trying to be validated by them, it's so hard. But they finally came around. It took them, I'm 34, it took them like 33 years to finally.
Savannah is a magical place.
It is.
So you go there, and what happens?
So I go in, and I'm in the architecture program. I get straight A's. Like, I love architecture. And I would drive by the fashion building, and I would like dream. And then halfway through, I was double majoring. And then I kind of like talked about it some more, and then I end up majoring in fashion, minor in architecture. And I love that experience, have like broadened my education. So before SCAD, I self-taught with fashion. I would go to the thrift store, put it inside out, take things apart, and then just sew. I would do prom, like I never was, I would do prom dresses. I was just like, I'm just gonna like wing it, because like I think this is an American dream. I'm happy I have that gift that I can just like, if I don't know how to do something, go find out. And so I think what SCAD did was refine me. Like, I was in color theory, and I found out the opposite of blue was orange. I was like, what? So that's
I
what
didn't know that.
I paid my money to find out. I learned a lot more. But it was amazing. Like, it refined what I was automatically doing. Like, I would put these colors together, but I think art school kind of helped me articulate it and helped me have a great vocabulary to basically break down why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I think that's what my education has really, and another thing I love about SCAD is we take foundation classes, so you have to do sculpting, you have to do drawing, so that by the time you get in your major, you can add all these skills to your major. So I think it really, and then the fact that I have a foundation in architecture, I think for me, that gives me something where, because I feel like architecture is the mother of all art. That's kind of how I feel.
Why?
I feel like, I can't explain it. I feel like it has, it has a lot of thesis work. Like when I design buildings, we talk about the space, how you fill in the space, why you pick that building and the sun's coming from this angle, and it talks about theory, and you just go into more in depth, and I like really miss that. Whereas fashion sometimes could be like, you can design a collection from inspirational, you know what I mean? Instead of doing it for more like going for more of a thesis work.
So how do you put the two together?
Yeah, so this has been my life goal. Now it's kind of cool, like architecture and fashion. I feel like I've been doing it since '07, you know what I mean?
A long time.
But I merge it in a different way. So I usually sometimes do lectures on seeing fashion through the lens of architecture. And so there's a period of my fashion career where I was trying to be a seamstress. And a professor was really honest with me. It was like, stop being something you're not. And I was like, wait a minute, I got my feelings hurt. And but it was an eye opening. He said, why don't you design how you're wired to design? And so I designed my garment how I built my architecture models. And so there's a lot of way, like for an example, I designed. Let's see, can I bring? There's 3 beautiful women with my garments on. I think there are like 5 of them. Where are they? Okay, can you guys come on stage? That kind of explains. So I usually design for like the creative woman in the business world.
Yeah.
You know? It's hard to look sexy and then go to work. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. And there's Jennifer. Come on, Jennifer. You gotta sit there.
Or put that on, Donna T.
Yes, Donna.
Donna, put it on.
Okay. That's what okay. So what I love about Donna, this collection, when I talk about architecture and fashion, is that this collection was, I took the satellite map of Haiti, and I took those shapes, and then from those shapes, I create patterns from it. And so that's kind of like how I view. So a lot of these like shapes and that is another shape. It's kind of like the lens that I see fashion. And so I love this neoprene because I'm a girl, like, I like to like run to the store and like look cute, but I didn't do it on purpose, you know what I mean? And so I try to design clothes. Okay.
Inside
and it's inside out. And it's reversible.
Donna T.
Yes. Oh, she's so fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so sweet. Yeah, so like, and another thing is, this is the first season of my life where I'm actually mixing my personality. If you see my work, sometimes it's minimal and it's, I try to simplify it, but I'm like very colorful, so a lot of people are like, what are you wearing? I want that. So this is kind of me merging architecture and fashion. And so what's so cool about this is like, I try to design for the average woman, you know, not just the model. And so these women are different shapes, different size, and
We have the
same dress. And hers have a vest, and I love this silhouette of this skirt. It's like that Vogue skirt that I like really love. You can't never go wrong with the circle skirt.
Yeah.
So, and another thing with my garment, everything is stretch. Like, I love to be comfortable, especially when, look at that, other women are like, yes. Yes, because it's so hard to, and I have to think about like the creative woman in a business world. She's moving around, but later on she maybe has to go to a cocktail party,
Right.
And maybe she has to go to the gym and then throw this on. And so I try to think of the woman from different angle. But yeah, thank you, ladies. I just wanted to really show you.
Very nice.
But yeah, and a lot of my work here, when I miss architecture and fashion and doing installation, and I look at it from when I design how my process. So when I design fashion, I use the same process how I do architecture. And then I get to go more in depth and not just say, oh, this collection was inspired by a movie I saw. I get to go like shapes, I get to explore. So I think architecture has given me the foundation to kind of build from there.
Okay. Project Runway.
Oh man.
When we watch it, we see one thing. When you first watched it, what did you see?
Project Runway. I love Project Runway. I tried out for, I don't know, I see something, when I look at Project Runway, I think it's what I see in Project Runway is opportunity, you know? And I remember the first time I auditioned for Project Runway.
2003.
No, it was 2007.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it was, 2007. It's okay. It was in 2007, and I remember I self-taught, you know, like I go to the thrift store and take things apart. And that's when Tim Gunn was at the audition, and I told myself like I'm never gonna be on a reality TV show, but it's crazy. I tried out for that one. I remember being downtown.
Tim Gunn was there?
Tim Gunn was there.
What was that like?
It was wrecking. Like I stayed at it was like Macy's, 4 a.m. with your model, and then you think you're great, right? Because your mom, everyone in your family's like, oh, you're so amazing, you're an artist, and then you're in a line with 200 people behind you,
Right.
and everyone is amazing, and so.
Where was it?
Miami, Florida,
Okay.
downtown, and then you go in, and then there's a panel of judges, and they said that you have a great personality, you can design, but you don't know what a pattern was. I got my feelings hurt. I cried, you know, because in this industry, you need your feeling. If you're going to be great in anything in life, you need people in your life that's going to look at your work and say, ooh, this is horrible. You know what I mean? Or you just stay plateaued. And so they looked at my work. They were like, we don't think you're going to survive. You don't even know what a pattern was. And I got mad. But then my mom, she doesn't play with her education. She's like, you can go to school. So that's why I went to SCAD. The second time I auditioned for Project Runway, I was like, okay, Project Runway, got my degree. I thought I was the bomb. I'm like, yes, you know? And so I went, and they were like, you need to work on your craft. You need to work on your finishing when you finish a garment. And I was devastated. Like for me, life is over. Like, you're ready to jump off a bridge, you know? And they're like, we love your personality, but I think there's some areas you need to work on. And I remember I was at the restaurant in Atlanta, and I got that call, and they're like, we're sorry we went with someone else, and we would love for you to try. And so I usually take about a week to soak, you know? You gotta give yourself, I think you should give yourself like, oh, this hurts. I give myself a week to feel bad. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go work on what they said, you know? Because I really want this. And I remember the last audition that I got on, I didn't even care to be on the show. I just wanted feedback. I wanted someone to look at my work and say, this is bad, this is good. And the cool thing about it is they were like giving me, when I was hungry, Mono, one of the old contestants, was like, Merline, if you change this in leather, you can sell this for $800. I was like, $800? Yeah, you know, I was learning. I was like growing, and then they gave me a maybe, and I left there. I was like, thank you, see you next year. And the producers was like, wow, we just love the fact that you were open, and they're like, come for your second talk. So that one was the one I finally got on. So
okay,
that was.
Let's go back to the first one. The night before the audition, what was that like?
It's nerve-wracking. I take all my clothes, I get my garments ready. And at that time, I genuinely thought I was great. I genuinely, like, there's no one that looked at my work. I was in fashion school. I started fashion, why not? I heard about this show, and I went, and so I think it was more nerve-wracking when I'm the fourth person in line, and then I turn around, and everyone else was better than me when I look at their work. That was like an eye-opening, like, there's so much more that I need to learn.
Okay, the night before the second audition.
The night before the second, he's good. The night before the second audition, it's crazy. I was working on another show, and this is how I know, this is why I didn't make it. I submitted a portfolio for my senior collection, but when I show up on an audition was a project I was currently working on, and they were like, we want to see what you submitted. And I was like, man, you know, that really taught me something, you know what I mean? And the one I got on the third time, okay, I always say that don't wait for opportunities, just start creating a collection, and the doors will open. And so right before Project Runway, I was in my studio downtown, I was working on a collection. And I was about to have my first trunk show. And I'm sewing, it's about 100 pieces, and all the garments came out awful. And it was a girl that, it was a girl that came to help me. She just was honest with me. She goes, you have great design, but they're not done well. And that's an hour before people about to walk through the door. And I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? And I have this amazing friend, Mary, and her husband, they're on the other side, and she came up to me, she said, let's switch it around an hour before people come. Let's say this is a sample sale. We would love your feedback.
They said that?
She told me to like restate it so that when people come in, if it's horrible, they can give me feedback. It's not like, these are not my final. And so we did that, people loved it, some people bought some. I got a box of feedback from people, genuine women saying, change this, add this, change this color. And then a week, and I'm like, oh, I'm going on vacation. And then I got the email saying, your audition for Project Runway. And so for a whole week, I had to redo that entire collection based on the feedback from that trunk show to get ready for Project Runway. And so the night before Project Runway, I'm doing an all-nighter, I'm sewing. I don't sleep. From Savannah, I get in a car, drive to Atlanta. And then every time I go a few more miles, I reward myself with a nap on the side of the road. And then I wake up, and I'm like, you can do this, Merline, you can do this. And then I take another nap. And I remember walking into Family Dollar store, buying wipes, getting your face together, you know, for this audition. And then you know how, designers, they gotta walk it like they fake it, like everything was good. But we were like wiping ourselves down. And then I like walked in and it was great. It was other designers, you know, but that was like like doing all-nighters and not sleep. It was just such a like, I feel like every time something amazing is gonna happen, I feel like I'm always like stumbling, like, you know, like going through the weave and like, why is everything falling apart?
Yeah.
That's how I feel when something.
Now, when you got on the show, where do they do the show from?
New York City.
You were in New York?
I was in New York City, and the best thing is, okay, thousands of people try out, audition, thousands of people send in their audition tape. Thousands, like the rumor is like 33,000, like thousands of people, and then I got to be top 16 in the world. Like we had, thank you. Yeah, isn't that like, that blows my mind. Like they could pick any other, you know what I mean? So like for me to be on top 16, I didn't care I was the first one to go. Well, nobody wanted to be the first one to go on this show. We're like, oh, I don't want to be me. But I feel like for me, it was a game changer, and to be and then to be in a competition where everyone is amazing. You know how like when you walk into, you looking for the weak link, you're like, oh man, who's close? No, everyone's amazing. You know, I thought they would pick someone that's like really bad just to throw it in there. You know, person that nope. Everyone was like impeccable in what they did.
We see the end result each week. Tell them what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scene. Okay, so when we first got on there, they said that imagine final, but every day.
Okay, where did you stay?
Oh, we stayed in a normal apartment in New York, just like normal. They kept it low key. I thought, okay, so this is me. I'm like, I'm going to be on TV. I thought the red carpet was going to line up. No, it's not glamorous at all. It's not. It was just like, you know, it's like going to work, the set. It wasn't what I thought it would be. Like in TV, everything seems so glamorous, but like backstage, it's just like normal people going to work. PA, hey, come sit over here, come do this.
Yeah.
So to me, that was it was an eye opening that world, you know.
So now you have the first show. Tell me about that.
Okay, so I remember the first show, and it was like nerves, you know when you have, it's like butterflies to the third power, and you're on, and you never know. The pressure is so serious, like to be on that pedestal of like this week, like you're amazing, and everyone's like, oh, and then another week you're like, you're horrible. It's like it will drive you nuts. And I totally see why celebrities are on drugs. Like I'm never judging a celebrity ever in my life, you know? It's true. Sometimes sometimes we're so hard on them. We're like, get your life together, but for them to be in that spotlight, I know this is why I'm good TV. You see what I mean? And for that pressure will take you down, and a lot of people don't survive reality TV show because that pressure. But for me, there were days where, and the cool thing about it is everyone had amazing days, everyone had bad days. You know what I mean? Everyone was on top at one point, and everyone was in the bottom at one point. And I think for me, it was the hard, like after Project Runway, I think it's a degree. I really think, if someone can call me and be like, oh, I need a wedding gown for tomorrow, I'd be like, okay. Because that's how we would do 8 hours. They would give you like a 1-day challenge. That's like you buying your fabric and then you get in a studio and that reminded me like I can do anything. That like really, I don't know, that really took me to see my capability. Because sometimes I'll be on a show and they'll be like, wow, Merline, this is great. I'll be like, wow, Merline, this is great. Because I had no idea that I had that inside of me.
You told me that reality TV, they were like, don't say anything to anyone until...
Yeah, well, I think what I love about Project Runway is the authenticity. You know, they want everything to be said, to be authentic. Now, it's not fake. Like, they never give us lines, literally. You know, like, you know, sometimes I'm wondering, I'll be like, mm-hmm. You know, when you watch reality, you be like, mm-hmm. You know, but to see it where it's like, it's literally us just working all the time. And they want to capture, like, really authentic like self in every which what's interesting that I really love. Yeah.
So you're around all these fashionistas. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Yeah, you know what's so crazy about it? Everyone comes on the show, they're like, oh, I'm amazing. I did this. And I'm like, we're all broke. That's why we're on Project Runway. You know? I'm like, but we all put a front on. Everyone's like, I've done this. I'm like, what is going on? But I think for me, what I struggle, and you can watch the first episode is because I come like this, hello, out and they're like, who's that weird girl?
Yeah.
It's true, you know, they're like, why is she so happy? You know, they were mad because I was happy. So that was interesting to see, but it was, what I loved about it was, I love open studio. I love to be challenged by other designers. I do, and that's why I love architecture. If you ever go to architecture school, everybody works on a wall, and everyone comes and have this dialogue, and you go deeper, and you learn from each other. And so I think that's what I love about Project Runway. It's like open studio, you know, and you're on your eye, you're like, oh, this person is amazing. I need to step up my game, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it challenged us, and I learned a lot from. Like when I first got on the show, I would do my patterns, then I would drape it, and then 8 hours, and then 4 hours, you're like, and then this person goes straight to drapering. And that I started to learn how other people was like surviving, and I started learning from the other contestants, like what made their design work, you know? So it was a big learning lesson for me.
Let's talk about one big win.
Yeah.
Lace to the finish. You won that. Tell them what lace to the finish is.
So I went top 5 for Project Runway, and then I got to go to New York Fashion Week to show my collection. So I'm talking about all the celebrities that you're close coming down the runway. It was like a dream. I was like, that's me, you know? Sometimes I pinch myself like this is, and just for me to be top 5, like 16. So every week someone, like in every episode, every week someone's going home and you're like, oh man, I don't want to go home. So when I got to top 5, I was like, oh man, I'm really here, you know? And so it was just such amazing experience to know that like, I can go far. And another thing I really learned about Project Runway is I learned what I'm really capable and what I'm not capable of doing. You know, and that was like a big lesson. And then it makes you kind of say, what do you really want to do in life? I'm always challenging with that question, you know. But yeah, top 5, New York Fashion Week. I'm talking about after Project Runway, the doors open like, okay, so you can imagine my immigrant mom, remember her?
We were talking, your mom, your relatives, your friends saw you on TV.
I made it. Like Haiti calling, you know? She made it, like.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal when your mom come here on the boat and they see their kids on TV. Like life is over. And at that point, my mom was like, it's crazy. So I moved back home to Miami now. And back in the days, my mom was like, you need to get a normal job. And now she's like, take your time. Oh, after Project Runway. So I love how Project Runway kind of like changed her perspective, you know?
Well, that was one of my questions. How did Project Runway change your life? Go ahead.
It opens, I love Project Runway because it opens doors for me that I could ever. And another thing too, like, I think every artist secretly inside them want to be noticed. We want people to see our work and go, I get you. You know what I mean? It's like a guy on the right horse telling I love you. I think for me, we want validation. We want someone to say, I get your perspective, I get. And so for me, Project Runway opened that. When people see me, they go, wow, you're talented. I see your work. And I'm like, yes. That's, to me, it's basically taking your portfolio and putting it on a national level. And so everything changed. Fame, I was like, whoa, this is a beast of its own, you know?
It is.
And that was a beast of its own, my work. And I had to learn, like, I really had to learn how to survive with fame. Like, I love being a normal person. I crave, like, being a normal. And after that, it made me redefine certain things in my life, you know? So in the industry, like, 1 minute you're hot and 1 minute you're not, literally, you know? And so for a long time, my identity was literally wrapped up in, it was wrapped up in my work, you know? So when someone say, Merline, we hate your work, I would you would fall because like my identity. And so for me, I had to kind of like reshift a lot of things in my life just to survive mentally, you know? So because I'm a Christian, so I had to like literally put my identity in Christ so that I can go and be an artist. So if you come to me and go, Merline, your work is off, I'd be like, oh, okay. But if my identity is wrapped into it, like when I take control, it will kill you, you know? And so when I'm on that stage and they're like, Merline, we love your work, and everyone patting, I'm talking about when you're on top, everyone's happy. When you're in the bottom, I'm talking about like, you're awful, like it's like a pound on you, and it's like that pressure that you feel like a loser, you know what I mean? That, like, you know, artists, that heaviness. And so for me, it really helped me have a good foundation so that I can be free and just be me and really not free, because I'm a people-pleasing kind of person. And so people opinion really like impact me. And so I think putting my identity and my faith really set me free to be an amazing designer and not care.
You're now a fashion designer.
Yes.
It's hard enough to find a job. To find a job
J.O.B.
as a fashion designer, what is that like?
It's hard. It is not glamorous, guys. Like, I wake up at 6 in the morning, sometimes 5 something. I go to the gym. I get in my studio. I work all day. Halfway, I have a nonprofit. I teach fashion in the inner city because I'm really passionate about. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm really passionate about not just consuming art and developing art for me, but I'm really, because someone sparked that spark in my eye when I was a girl. So I go back in the inner city, and my kids do everything I do in college. Like, I'm intense. I teach them like they're in SCAD. I'd be like, your portfolio needs to be done, you know? And so.
How old are they?
They're like, in high school, some of them in high
They're
school,
5.
and then some of them are in elementary school. And so depending on, like, if they're in elementary school, I'll do their patterns for them, and then they get to cut their fabric. But if they're in high school, I make them draft their pattern. And then I make them work hard, and they're like, oh, Miss Merline, and I lecture them, you know. But when they see their work coming down a runway, and you see their eyes light up, like, that's like forever changed my life, you know. And so I just love, like, wake up in the morning, working, and then going to my nonprofit, impacting, because I can't just work in my studio and be isolated. I feel like there's a part of me want to give back. I love to teach too. And then I get back in my studio and I sleep super late, and then I wake up and do it all over again. And I spent my time between being a business owner and being an artist. If you want to get J.O.B., if you want to get paid, I had to shift my brain 3 years ago to be an entrepreneur and to start, like, reading business plan and doing marketing, and, like, I had to learn how to brand myself visually. I had to do my own website, and I literally, like, because I want to get paid. It's just a hobby for me. I'm like, man, I want to get paid in fashion, so I had to. And I take a lot of people out to coffee to learn, to pick their brain and say, because I don't know what I'm doing. I always say I don't know what I'm doing. I have people in my life that are CEO, they're branders. I ask them because they're good, and then they kind of really impact. So that's kind of like what my life looks. I call buyers. I hear, like, no, yes, we want your stuff. Sorry, I emailed a boutique in New York, and they were like, sorry, we get emails from designers every day. We'll get back to you. I was like, you know? So you got to have a tough skin for rejection in this industry.
What's it like going from someone who admires people to someone who people admire?
It's so cool. I'm a people person, so when I meet people, they think I'm their best friend. I think I'm their best friend, you know? So I think it's like a perfect match. It's true. And I love it, and I use my platform, like, again, I use my platform for my nonprofit. It opens, like, when I tell you it opened doors for me, I can call a boutique and be like, Project Runway, they're like, yes, when you want to put your clothes in, I'm like, yes, you know. So I think that for me has changed me. I don't know. I feel like I'm the same girl, but it's really, people look at me different. So sometimes I forget I'm on Project Runway. In Miami, I literally, like, because on Project Runway I have a hat on and my hair is shorter. So in Miami, I grew out my hair. No one really, they just look at me and be like, that girl look familiar, you know? So I think my hat is like my Superman cape, you know? So I literally take my makeup off and be doing normal stuff, you know? But it's cool. Like, I have people say, oh my gosh, my auntie love you, call my auntie. I'm like, okay, hi auntie, this is Merline from Project Runway. So it's been awesome. It's like a lot of love.
You talk about your not-for-profit.
Yes.
Why is it important to you to give back?
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so I love problem solution. I feel like I'm around people that talks about the problem all the time. I feel like we're in a society where people just talk about the problem and they go home and sleep, and then on Facebook talk about the problem and go to sleep again. I'm like, oh no, and it makes me sad, you know. And so, like, imagine if everyone in here was like, I want to give back. Like, they pick a kid, or they like, I'm just gonna paint this sidewalk, or I'm gonna clean up I feel like I don't wanna be just talking about the problem. So I'm a type of person, I go and make it happen. And so I just call a school or organization, like, can I teach fashion? I take all my supplies from my studio, sewing machine, I know what a light box is. I scan all my fashion books, and I go teach fashion camp. And then it just grew more, and it's developed. It just started me calling someone. And then I did a mission trip with my church, and I went to the inner city in Poland, and I taught fashion with the kids too. And my kids have like, I'm telling you, I'm really intense. They have a fashion show. They don't, and the cool things about going to that community, sometimes they don't believe you because a lot of people make promises to them. So hear me, very quirky, you know, and they're like, okay, Miss Merline, you know, and they don't care about me. They actually don't care about me being a celebrity. They'd be like, you ain't Beyonce. I'd be like, oh man. They're literally, you
I'm
know?
not Beyonce.
I'd be like, okay. So I don't phase them. I don't impress them. And so they learn how to sew. They learn patterns. They learn how to draw. And then we have a fashion show. I take all their work and I scan it and I give it as a portfolio so that they can apply for college if they want to. So I try to like tell them they can dream. They can, you can do it like. And I come in like you know how the movies, the teacher come in all mean? That's me. I come in like pretending like, you guys are gonna be the best, you know? And so, but I'm passionate about it because someone sparked that. Someone took their time to show me crochet. She didn't have to. She took her time. She's like, yeah, come after school. She taught me crochet. And then when I got to high school, I used to sell crochet bags. So I remember being on Project Runway, and one of my professors, my counseling professor said, I still have that crochet bag. I was like, oh my gosh, you know? And so she sparked that in me. And so for me, I go back. I have no idea how I'm impacting the kids. It might be 20 years later when I'm like old. Well, I'm not gonna be old in 20 years, wait a minute. But I don't know the impact I'm gonna have. I don't know if they're gonna impact people, but I think like, I feel like all of us have a talent. If even it's poetry, if you can sew, if you can draw, if you can paint. And most of it is just spending time with the kids. I'm not doing nothing like fancy. I just spend time with them. I teach them what I know from SCAD, what I've learned in the fashion industry, and they copy.
That's more important.
Yeah, that's more important. They like, Miss Merline, you love us. And they come hug me. And I'm like, you can do it. And sometimes they'll do inner talk. Because I used to have low self-esteem. So the girl be like, I can't do this. And I'll be like, don't say that. Don't speak that into life. So it's kind of cool. I get like so excited about my kids. I get like every time someone donates to my kid, I just got 12 sewing machines. I'm like, my kids are gonna love it. So you can just imagine me with like 12 kids running around, and I'm like, no, 35 kids, elementary kids running around. I'm like, oh, this is art, you know?
Yeah.
But I love it because I think it's important for us not to just consume as people, but to go back. And if all of us in the room do like one thing to provide for our community. It could be small, like feeding, just going to the homeless. I think all of us have that capability. We can walk, we can talk, and I think like for me, I'm so, you see me, I'm so passionate because I'm first generation. My mom came here on a boat, so for me, the American dream is like, oh, it's like a thing. And so me going back to impact is like, it's one of my dreams come true. And at the end of the program, the kids think they're getting, at the end it's all crying. At the fashion show, we're all crying, the parents. And I think I get more out of it than the kids, you know.
Merline, first of all, is she wonderful?
Aw, you're so sweet.
Or what?
Thank you.
We're going to have Q&A if you have questions. It's your turn, but I have one more question. Tell me about the future. How do you see it?
Okay, I'm gonna be an architect. Yes, so thank you. I just applied for FIU, I got accepted. I'm in 3 years, accelerated program. At the end of it, I get to have my license as an architect. So I think, thank you. I feel like I feel like I can do whatever I want in different seasons of my life, and so I get to be an architect, I get to be a fashion designer. I get to just not build garments, I get to build the space that people live in and have an impact on that and have an impact on our community. I'm into like shipping container home, providing homes at a smaller price, but doing it minimal for people. So I'm really passionate about a lot of things, and I get to do installation where I do different mixed media. And I think for me, I used to be that girl with the 10-year plan. I used to be like, this is my life. And now I threw that out the garbage, you know? And I do plan, I work hard, but I'm open to changing. So if tomorrow I become a missionary and all I do is go to Africa and teach women how to sew, okay. I'm not attached to this one idea, this is my life, you know? I'm open to being an architect for a season. I'm open to doing both as a fact and having two firm. I'm open to, and I think it gives me leeway because in the past my dreams would be like this, and so when my dreams doesn't happen, I get mad. I get mad at God. I get mad at the world. I'm like, oh, life is over. And maybe I was supposed to go a different direction. So a different season of my life, I stop. I evaluate whether, like, see, this season, I don't want to sew anymore. Although this season I'm sewing. I want to get to a point where I want to manufacture. And I just want to be the designer. And so I'm like, okay. In another season, I might just be the architect. And so I try to give myself room to grow and to just do, I don't believe in like, just a fashion designer, just an entrepreneur. I think it all entwine, you know what I mean?
They need to show Project Architect.
Can you see me? Oh my God, the building is falling. That'd be great TV. We need to brand that. That's good TV.
Who has a question?
Yeah.
So, for the judges, which judge do you think was the best? Who gave you the best feedback?
Okay, I'm biased. I will pick, what if this video come back, you know? What if they meet me like, oh, you like that, Judge Merline? I like when, I don't know, it's hard. You have Heidi Klum that's here from a model perspective.
You met Heidi Klum.
She's amazing. We were sitting over here, we were like, she is still beautiful in person.
Yeah.
You know, she was authentic, beautiful. Okay, like, one thing I gotta say about Project Runway, backstage, it's like a family. I've never seen anything in my life like the cast, everyone got each other back. That it just felt like family backstage. So I think I have to say that. But I think I would pick the designer as my favorite because every time I get feedback from a designer, and it was Zach Posen, I would be like, because it's a designer, you get me. He would be like, Merline, I get your architect. I'd be like, you get me. It's true, you know? And Nina Garcia is the tough one, you know? But they're looking at it from a different perspective. And so when Nina's like, Merline, you need to be more commercial. Because at one point, I would be stuck here, but I couldn't relate it to the average woman. You know what I mean? Like, how do I relate design to the woman that can, like, you know, take the clothes off and run errands? And Project Runway made me think of the consumer. And I think that's what each judge has done. But I like Zach Posen. Zach Posen.
Okay, another one.
Oh,
Good question.
I do love natural fibers. But my favorite now is like neoprene. I think what Donna was wearing. Donna, okay, model for me. I need to hire Donna as my modeling. But yeah, it's so comfortable. It's like scuba diving material, but they have it in different length. And sometimes they have like on top of this, they can put cotton over it and then kind of like mesh it together. They have this in mesh. I like it because it's flexible. You know what I mean? It's comfortable. Like you can like a good pillow or a good blanket that you're like designing with. So yeah. So I love neoprene. I love cotton because cotton sometimes give me the structure that I want. I do love natural fibers. Wool, like that collection you saw that was super dope. Like I was at LA Fashion Week. When I do these things, I like lose my mind sometime. But all that was like, I try to do a lot of natural fibers and but I love neoprene because neoprene is like, it's not a natural fiber. But yeah, that's the only thing I can work with. So what I had to learn, what I'm good at, and my problem was I want to do everything. But I have to learn that I'm not a satin girl. You know, I'm not there's certain materials that, because of the architecture background that I have, that it can't do what I want to do. That's what I had to learn, is that some fabric can do this and some fabric won't do that, you know? And so sometimes you have to like adjust your design as you go along. But fabric for me, because I feel like I'm a baby in fashion because I studied architecture. I know everything about architecture. You know, like I did a lot of lectures on architecture classes. That for me, when I got into fashion, I had to explore different material. And even now, going into the architecture program, my favorite designer is Iris Van Herburn. She is amazing. And she does this 3D architecture out of like these interesting pieces. She like going into fabric that haven't even like started yet, you know? And so that's kind of like I want to develop. I want to create things like that and kind of explore where that can take me.
Okay, cliche question.
Yeah.
Put fashion over here. Put architecture over here. In your spare time.
Spare time.
What do you do?
Okay, I do have to have a spare time. I read this amazing article. I'm always reading. It says, artists needs at least like one day off to rejuvenate. And so I do that hard. Like Sunday, I'd be like, my mom is like, they tease me at home. I'm not even doing the dishes on Sunday. Like that's how like I'm done. But I go to the museum on my off. I go to Wynwood. Wynwood is very artsy. They have public art on all the all the buildings. It's a mandatory now to have public art on the buildings. And I try to be with people that are like-minded. I love TED Talks. Hopefully, I want to apply for being a TED Talk. I love TED Talk. I watch TED Talks all the time to be inspired. So because I'm isolated in my studio, there's constantly like fashion videos playing. So like I can feel like I'm in an industry because you're so isolated. There's TED Talks talking in the background to be inspired. Because some days I'm like, I don't want to. Some days I'm tired. Some days I'm just burnt out. That I'm like, what am I doing in my life? I have those questions. I'm like, what are you, when you're broke and you got that, I'm like, man, what am I doing, you know? You start questioning everything. But I have seasons of my life where I have to have positive stuff like encouragement. People come in my life saying, you can do it, but like, I love taking walks. I love writing. I do a lot of writing in my journal. I sketch a lot, fashion sketch. I just dream like, because when you become an artist and you start making money, sometimes you forget. Remember doodling? Remember before you artists used to, what happened to the doodling age, you know? So I try to doodle. I try to do non-fat. I can't even crochet on my off because I'm like, I can make money. So anything that's like gonna make me go back, I don't read fashion magazines, anything. Like I have to like step away from it completely and do something completely awesome, like going to the museum and going to different galleries downtown and talking to people, and then going swimming, going to work out. Like I literally have to schedule doing something fun. That's my calendar.
Okay, lightning round. Favorite food?
Oh, Thai.
Okay, favorite movies?
Okay, Pride and Prejudice. I'm a Pride and Prejudice girl. Like the long dress, reading the book. That's what I dream of my life to be. Music. I'm an indie pop. Like I'm a pop girl. I'm like the Spice Girl, Britney Spears. Oh baby, baby. That's me. I'm that pop girl. But I'm eclectic. But like my natural demeanor would go to indie pop because it's like weird. And I think I was telling someone, you know, when your indie artists are not famous and you're like, it's like an underground secret. Then they get popular. You're like, forget this. I gotta find me another artist, you know. But I love indie pop. Yeah.
Do you always wear your designs?
Yes. This season I do because I need to know what my customer's feeling. Like sometimes I'll design something and it's not practical. Like I'll tear jeans, I'll tear stuff out of it and I have to be like, I have to like go back to plan. I have to take that same garment and then I read an amazing article where we're in a generation where back in the days, people would take a product, go in the process room and work on it until it's perfect. We don't do that anymore. We come up with the product, we throw it out there, and then we be like, oh, this is not wrong with it. And then you go back and edit it, and then you throw it back out. So that's kind of like the approach I do with and I wear everything.
Okay, last question. What do you think of Orlando?
Oh my God, it's amazing! So, I love, the people was so good. We went around 7 Bites. Shannon took me to 7 Bites. I was like, oh man. I was like licking my finger. I love the vibe here. I feel like Miami is finally getting that because of Wynwood Art Basels every year. So because Miami is used to considered as a club town, you know. So to have an environment where is an artist, like we don't get it until you leave here and you don't find it. Like in Savannah, what I loved about being in Savannah was SCAD is there, 14,000 students and plus are just like walking around, everyone's doing shows. That like does something to the artist, you know? Because sometimes we're in our studio being isolated, creating those things, but we're not around each other. Like, and then I feel like my generation, the millennial, we don't have this dialogue. Like this is amazing that you guys do this because we don't talk about art. We're not mad about anything. We just tweet about it and we go to sleep. I'm telling you, we're not doing any revolution through our work. Like I just want us to be mad enough to like change the world. That's kind of like how I am. So every time the world's going down, I'm like, yes. You know, because I want us to be mad enough to get off our seat and do something, you know? And so I think what I love about this community is that other artists get to talk to each other and inspire, you know, because once I leave here, I'm like I'm doing another collection as soon as I leave here because I'm like so inspired being in this community, you know? So it's been, thank you for having me. This has been,
Merline,
this been
thank you.
amazing experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Merline
Oh,
Labissière.